Good evening and welcome. It's a real pleasure to be asked to talk about turtle doves with a general introduction on turtle dove ecology and conservation. So thanks to the Brecks Landscape Partnership for asking me to come along and talk about this for one of the iconic species that we get in the Brecks. I'll be covering a whole range of things, starting with the basics. So whether you are new to turtle doves, familiar with them, or even already providing for turtle doves on your land, there should be something here for everybody to take away. We're in the evening now, so I'm not going to judge at all. I've got a glass of water because I'm a good boy. But settle in, grab a beverage of your choice, and hopefully, if I've done my job properly, you'll be able to sit and enjoy an insightful and stimulating talk. So with turtle doves wintering in Africa, this is a good time of year to familiarize yourself with our resident species. The species that they're most often mistaken for is collared dove because of the neck markings. However, this illustration here clearly shows the striking chestnut and black markings on the wings of the turtle dove in contrast with the plain wings of the collared dove. You can also see there's slight differences in the collar banding of both of them. It's a bit harder to see the difference in the wings in juveniles, but essentially they look like a washed out version of the adults. That being said, you often hear turtle doves more than you see them. The sound is soothing and is connected with summer as the call of the cuckoo, the song of the nightingale, or the scream of the swift. So if you hear that, you're in for a treat. And it's definitely worth maybe scoping out the area over the next couple of days to see if you can actually get any views of it. So I showed you some illustrations there, but I actually do like a mixture of ID resources. Drawings can be great and a clear way to learn plumage, whilst photographs can give you a better impression of size. Like here, where we are lucky to have both a wood pigeon and a collared dove in the picture to compare the size with the turtle dove front and center in the starring role. So this allows us to really understand how small turtle doves are. They are our smallest dove species and not much bigger than a blackbird, actually. If you go on to the amazing BTO Bird Facts, basically database, you can see lots of things about different species there, but you will see that looking at your average blackbird, the weight is around 130, 131 grams. No, sorry, I'm talking nonsense. That's gone out of lines. The weight of a blackbird is about 100 grams. The weight of a turtle dove is about 156 grams. And the weight of a wood pigeon is a chunky 500 grams. So you can see much more which end of the spectrum the turtle dove is sitting in. So now that you know what they look like and what they sound like when they're standing or perched, if there isn't a bird purring away in a prominent branch or telegraph wire, they do actually sit out quite boldly in places. Then your view of them is likely to be of them flying away. But here again, they are quite distinctive. They've got a black tail with a white border to the feathers. So you can see in this picture, we've got the turtle dove in red and the collared dove circled in yellow. So remember my comment on the first slide about turtle doves in Africa over winter? One of the most interesting things about turtle doves is that there are only migratory dove. In this slide here, we've got two routes mapped out that we call flyways that are used by turtle doves during their migration. We've got what we call the western flyway and the central and eastern flyway. Turtle doves migrate to the UK using the western flyway, arriving in mid-April to breed before making the return flight to Africa around September time. Why am I here talking to you? And why is this species so on the radar. Well, once considered a common species, we're now working to conserve the species due to a steep population decline across Europe, as illustrated in the graph here. In the UK, the populations declined by 98% from 125,000 pairs in the 70s to around 2,100 in 2021. The strength and speed of the declines led them to be red listed by the IUCN and gave rise to the European Action Plan for Turtle Doves. With the population decline, we've also witnessed the resultant breeding range in the UK contracting, as you can see here. The 2011 Bird Atlas shows a 51% breeding range decline since the 1960s. There is actually a new Bird Atlas planned to come out over the next coming years, but they do take a long time to put together. So it's not going to be just round the corner, but we will be able to see what changes have occurred in the interim period since 2011. Despite 5 EU member states holding over 80% of the turtle doves in the EU in 2015, populations were still decreasing in many of the EU member states and the UK. So experts came together and produced a European Single Species Action Plan for turtle doves. This set out detailed actions, with the foremost critical being direct conservation actions. These are: 1, good quality habitats with available and accessible water and food maintained and increased on the breeding grounds. 2, illegal killing in the European Union is eradicated and reduced elsewhere. 3, hunting across the range of the European turtle dove is carried out at sustainable levels. We have a temporary moratorium, adaptive harvest management system in place. And 4, good quality habitats with available and accessible water and food are maintained and increased at key sites for stopover and wintering. What I'll be going into detail about is Action 1, good quality habitats on the breeding grounds, because there are many, many, many days worth of talks in that little list on its own. Right, time for a quick roundup. Doves are our only migratory species of dove. Our turtle doves, as we call them, we do like to sort of take things and put ownership on them, are shared across the Western Flyway. Remember, they're going to go over Portugal, Spain, France as well. So although they end up with us, there are lots of turtle doves from the Flyway over those European countries as well. And they're actually only with us for about 5 months, mid-April to mid-September. And if conditions are perfect, then they can have up to 3 nesting attempts. They are what we call obligate granivores. So if you're not wanting to use scientific speak, then that's seed eaters to you and me. Interestingly, the seed composition of their diet has changed over time. These are turtle dove chicks on this page. Unfortunately, they don't look anything like as cute as a wader chick, like an avocet chick or a golden plover chick. But I like to think that they are a good example of the ugly duckling, or maybe in this case we should call it the ugly doveling. Yeah, I'll show myself out just now. Okay, business time. I mentioned turtle doves can have multiple nesting attempts per season if conditions are perfect. One of the many factors here, one of the main focuses of Operation Turtle Dove actually, is their nesting habitat. Not wanting to buck the dove nesting building trend, turtle doves follow the standard dove nest blueprint of 3 wings and a prayer. As in, there's not much to a nest for a turtle dove. As such, good quality nesting habitat is a must. The less suitable habitat, the less potential for 2nd and 3rd nesting attempts. So a question: what do turtle doves need to breed successfully in the UK? It's okay, I'll answer it. They need 3 things: nesting habitat, water, and food. At Operation Turtle Dove, we view the turtle dove as a kind of umbrella species. As a poster bird, turtle doves generate a lot of traction in people wanting to provide for them. And what's the resulting good news of that? Well, nothing you do for turtle doves will be wasted, by which I mean while we watch out for numbers of turtle doves to increase, even if you already have turtle doves on your land, you'll still be benefiting a host of other wildlife species, including red and amber listed bird species, by providing for turtle doves. So to start, we can look at nesting habitat. We have a lot of resources on the Operation Turtle Dove website. And if you look in our guidance sheets, we state that turtle doves require dense and thorny hedges or scrub. Remember those scruffy little insubstantial nests, so they probably want as much coverage as possible. With species like blackthorn and hawthorn, approximately 3 meters tall and 4 meters wide. When visiting a landowner, this is generally the most easily identifiable habitat type and a great starting point. Where possible, we recommend protecting, managing, and potentially enhancing what's already there. Scrub and hedgerows take a long time to establish, so having something that's there already is a real asset rather than having a time lag of having to put something in from new. The good news is that turtle doves aren't really picky, as they might first seem. Anything a bit prickly will do, and indeed in the past they nested in an even greater variety of places. If your landscape has turtle dove records but doesn't have a lot of the hawthorn and blackthorn that you see in our guidance documents, they might be using things like gorse or dense conifer plantations like here at Thetford Forest on our doorstep. We need to think about changing the narrative with regards to scrub. When we talk about scrub management, that conveys that this habitat has value rather than more usually used term of scrub clearance, which when we use scrub clearance, it's part of scrub management anyway. We may remove areas of scrub, but we generally never remove it all. So scrub clearance can be quite a negative connotation, and we really need to try and switch the way that we talk about it. It isn't just something that needs to be cleared wherever it appears. In the right place, it's a fantastic wildlife habitat. Case in point, we recently had a great scrub showcase work party with the wardens at RSPB Minsmere and a host of volunteers. And by the end of it, it was clear to see the intention and the value of the work. Historically, I know that they've done some scrub management, and in the area of scrub that they did the work on, the following year they had singing and nesting nightingales in it. So it really does work. At the end of the day where we were there, I actually thought that looks good. I would nest in that. No, my thought was not pretty, but good. And indeed, if you see scrub in the when it's had work done to it in January, it does look a bit drastic. But come back in the summer and see it all greened up, and you'll see the value of it and how good it actually is. It's a valuable habitat to be managed, not cleared out. Okay, secondly, let's consider water. If you eat seeds all day, you need water. Think about trying to eat a pile of crackers, like Jacob's cream crackers or something, without a glass of water. With a dry seed-based diet, accessible water for drinking and bathing is vital. If a site has a pond or is planning to create a pond, they should have one gently sloping side for safe access into the water. It's beneficial not just for turtle doves, but for biodiversity in general. Likewise, if they're using something like a water trough or whatnot, then make sure there's a stick or something like that in it for things that get in an exit route. We recommend ponds to landowners because they're so good for biodiversity. But turtle doves really aren't fussy. They just need accessible water to help with their seed-based diet. Regularly clean bird baths or water trays will do just as well. or a livestock trough with a floating platform or branches stuck in it for accessibility. Thirdly, let's look at foraging habitat. As obligate granivores, remember, seed eaters, turtle doves eat seeds and very little else. So turtle dove conservation in the UK is mostly about plants, actually. We can supplementary feed with small seeds, particularly early in the season to support early breeding. I'll touch on that later. However, the chicks do better when they've had a variety of seeds in their diet, so we need to work on providing more foraging habitat. It's the access to the seed rather than the plant species which is most important. Remember what I said earlier, it's about the size of a blackbird and it's got stumpy legs. They really struggle to walk or, let's be fair, waddle through denser ground vegetation. Predominantly a farmland species, turtle doves can also be found on woodland edge and rides. All can also provide suitable foraging habitats. So we talk about ecotone and soft edges, and that's a really good transition point where you can find foraging areas. A current hot topic is that there are countryside stewardship options that can help support the provision of foraging habitat. I'm not going to go into that here as it would be a whole talk in itself. There is the SFI 2026 update, and that was only released on Tuesday. However, if you get the management right, you not only be providing access to essential seed for turtle doves, but the flowers look pretty fantastic. Wow, fantastic too, especially when you get down and look into it. And this is something that I've really noticed in the Brecks, that we have so many specialized species, and they're often tiny little things. But when you get down and look properly at them and take time, in like 1 meter square area, the amount of biodiversity that you can see in the flora that is part of the Breckland landscape is astounding. So this is just a quick one to say Operation Turtle Dove was established in 2010. We're a partnership program, and we provide guidance and advice on turtle dove conservation with the strapline to get turtle dove ready. Get Britain turtle dove ready, sorry. As I say, we focus on providing nesting habitat, foraging habitat for migratory turtle dove species, individuals. But let's talk about the Brecks, because the Brecks are awesome, quite frankly. I've been here for a while now. I think my accent will tell you that I am not from round here. But yeah, it's just, the biodiversity is just so good. The Brecks spans an area of 393 square miles across Norfolk and Suffolk in the heart of East England. And it's one of the driest parts of Britain. The large skies are often blue. Thetford Forest and King's Forest collectively are the largest lowland forest in the UK. It was ancient heathland, once covered by covering huge areas of the Brecks, and they were really created by sheep and rabbits. Brecks were temporary fields cultivated for a few years and then allowed to revert to heath once the soil became exhausted. Breckland Biodiversity Audit in 2010 recorded over 12,000 species, of which over 2,000 were priority species. That's a huge range of biodiversity in a single landscape. Coming from Scotland, it took a while to appreciate what felt like a very alien landscape. When asked at the time, I would often say it's too flat. Whereas now I tend to get that sort of far away look in my eyes and say, big skies. It's a very special and unique place. In the Brecks, we're incredibly lucky to have the type of soil that we call light land. This makes a fantastic source of arable plants, providing a great turtle dove foraging feed source throughout the creation of cultivated margins. Again, This could be another talk within a talk, so I'd like to point you here to a presentation on this subject by a Breckland farmer named John Secker, who can do it a lot more justice than I ever could. This talk is a whole 17 minutes of gold, and I would really encourage you to take the time to just make a brew and enjoy someone who knows their subject intimately and speaks very accessibly with real passion about it. It's not always possible in every case to create a foraging plot straight away, and they take time and management and effort to provide for turtle doves. As a short-term measure, landowners can supplementary feed to provide that vital seed resource to allow adult birds to get into good breeding condition. These plots still have the same bare ground and low vegetation requirements, and this can also be supported through a variety of funding options. And it's something that we at Operation Turtle Dove can help out with. We supplementary feed from late April to June. That's when the arable flora resource is at its lowest. And we can monitor with camera traps as well, which I'll touch on later on. We know adults can travel up to 10 kilometers to feeding areas, but importantly, we also know that fledglings only travel up to 300 meters from the nest within the first 3 weeks. So whilst having accessible water, suitable nesting and feeding habitat is important, it's of very little use to our nestlings and fledglings if these things are few and far between. For survival, it's incredibly important to have all three habitats near to one another. Can anyone guess how close? Yep, 300 meters. When our advisors visit a site, we note whether accessible water is located within 300 meters of suitable feeding and nesting habitat. If all three habitats aren't, we'll then provide recommendations to achieve this to give turtle dove fledglings the best chance of success and the population the best boost it can get. The 300 rule is important for turtle doves, but one landowner doesn't always have to have all the habitat requirements on their land. Turtle doves don't care whose land the different habitats are on, as long as it's there. Maybe the land may be adjacent to a naturally occurring scrub, and whilst a landowner doesn't have the active management over it, they can still provide nesting habitat in the stakeholders' land if they provide the food and water. This is where farming cluster groups and community groups, county wildlife sites, smallholders could get involved to really link up the habitat across the county or country even, and provide these conservation corridors to link up so that we don't have islands of area conserved for wildlife. We now have 2 turtle dove advisors in Suffolk. Eliza was doing all this work on her own and shouldering a heck of a lot. So we now have Louisa on board. And so, yeah, 2 turtle dove advisors in Suffolk and Brecks, thanks to some external funding. We also have advisors in Essex, Kent and Sussex, and some advice provision in Norfolk and Cambridge. The project focuses on the counties with the most remaining turtle doves. And we work a lot with farmers, but also increasingly with small landowners and community projects, which I'll come back to. A turtle dove advisor is very much a jack of all trades, need enough of an understanding of different land uses to give landowners advice that will work for them, whether they manage farmland, a nature reserve, or even a golf course. A good understanding of turtle doves is essential to spot new opportunities to create more habitat. As I said, turtle doves are opportunists, so we have to be as well. Essentially, the aim of our work is to help landowners be turtle dove ready. So if a turtle dove finds a site, all the resources it needs to successfully breed are already there. Because turtle doves are migratory and mobile, they can turn up at new sites. We've had sites where they started with no turtle doves and are recording up to 20 individuals, or where they haven't been heard for a few years, and within weeks of starting to supplementary feed, they've been heard purring again. I want to get a quick focus on community work next. At Operation Turtle Dove, we built really strong connections with the farming community, For example, our interaction with the amazing Breckland Farmers Wildlife Network, a testament to the hard work of our turtle dove advisors and also the eagerness of farmers in the area to maximize the impact they can have on farming with wildlife in mind. Again, point you back to the cultivated margins talk that John Secker gives. Things like scrub management, cultivated margins. I know I'm going on about it, but it's just such a big thing in the Brecks. Beetle banks, stone curlew, and lapwing plots, to name but a few. However, with the current political landscape and the uncertainty over the future of schemes such as the Sustainable Farming Incentive, SFI, the interaction with communities is ever more important. Private landowner and community landscapes can really act together to increase the overall area of land managed for wildlife. We now have 2 community projects officers operating in Suffolk. And here we are, Community Project Officer Team Suffolk. Yep, that's me. And then there is my colleague Shirley. So between the 2 of us, we cover the whole of the Suffolk area, interacting with private landowners, smallholders, community gardens, nature reserves, and parish councils. In a nutshell, we interact with any contacts in a non-agricultural setting, which allows us to ease the pressure on our awesome turtle dove advisors, Eliza and Louisa, allowing them to focus on their interactions with farmers. Where do we operate? We divide the county roughly in half. Shirley's in the pink area, I'm in the green area. So that can kind of give you an idea of who you should be contacting if you're wanting to try and provide for turtle doves in a community aspect. Shirley operates on the Suffolk coast from the Stour Estuary in the south to Lowestoft in the north and westwards to Sudbury. And I operate in West Suffolk from Newmarket in the west to Stowmarket in the east, continuing northwards up to Bungay. As I cover Breckland, my patch also sneaks over the border into Norfolk a bit. We do work part-time, but we do both wish we could clone ourselves, though, to provide more capacity. If only this were true. To further illustrate the community aspect, here's a graph from our annual reporting data, and it's very clear to see that there's been a significant increase across all our operating counties in the last few years. And given how busy Shirley and I are, it should continue to increase. In some ways, as Shirley likes to say, it's like pushing an open door. In our short time in the role, this just to clarify, this role that we have has been in place for less than a year now. We've both found that communities and private landowners alike want to do as much as they can for nature. We just need to help provide any advice and practical help that we can. The majority already have their vision for wildlife, and I'm sure you do too. We just want to see if we can add value to it. So now you know the where and the why, but what do we actually do? Our core role could really be summed up as follows: providing advice and managing non-agricultural land for turtle doves. This includes advisory visits to small landowners, community talks and guided walks. Hey, look what I'm doing now. Practical help, cultivated plots and hedges, etc., and offering supplementary feed during the breeding season. Additionally, we also cover delivering small cultivated plots, which is Shirley's focus, organising and running surveys and monitoring, for example, camera traps, which is my focus, and I'll touch on that shortly. And as part of the above, providing opportunities for volunteers and people who have an interest to get stuck in and really help make a difference. So what does our workflow look like for you if you contact us and want to get involved with Operation Turtle Dove or try and provide with turtle doves on your land? So initial contact, you may have been to a talk or event, read one of our pieces in a newsletter, or perhaps been told about us by friends or colleagues, which I really especially like because it shows community linking up. Then you'll have some general questions and info. We'll ask a bit about the land that you're managing, the size, general habitat, what wildlife you have present, and whether you're actively managing for it already and what your vision is for your land. We then arrange a site visit where you can meet us in person on your home turf and show us around the fantastic work no doubt you've already got going on. We'll take photos and generally note down observations regarding the habitat. And then off the back of that, we will produce a report, which we'll take all that info and turn it into a site report for your records, where we'll detail all the specifics about your land and any advice and recommendations about how to manage your land for turtle doves. This report's really a great tool for you to bring to parish councils, local wildlife groups, county wildlife recorders, that sort of stuff. And then finally, kind of cascading through what we class follow-ups. So here we can agree and arrange additional work that may have been advised in the report, such as creating small foraging plots, or providing supplementary feeding, or enabling camera trapping on your land. A particular focus of my colleague Shirley's work is creating the small cultivated plots, mimicking cultivated margins in a farmland setting. The idea is to activate the dormant arable plant seeds by cultivating and thus provide natural forage for the turtle doves the following summer. And this, and this works well on the light soils of the Suffolk coast and the Brecks. Here's Richard, one of our volunteers in action. Currently, we have 13 plots in sites in place, and we've got more planned. The only limiting factor really is our time. So I'm going to play this for you just to see it, because it's fun to get your hands dirty and just mess with the little two-wheeled tractor. So just watch your volume. It might be a bit noisy. It's fun, quite frankly, as well as providing valuable habitat. It's nice to get out and do something that has tangible results. So complementary to the small plots project, I have a focus on camera trapping. The Operation Turtle Dove team works with a large and varied number of landowners over a variety of sites throughout Suffolk. On an annual basis, data is collected for turtle dove presence or absence at these sites, in addition to other factors. The deployment of camera traps can be seen as a positive aid in various ways. They can be used as an engagement tool, especially important for community groups, giving a continuing interactive activity between the members and promoting collaboration with others. It can be as a morale boost as well, capturing previously unobserved turtle dove visits, for example, to foraging plots. Like I said earlier, time pressures and things on landowners means that you can't necessarily stand over a plot 24/7. And with turtle dove adults being able to travel 10 kilometers to forage, you might have turtle doves coming in and using your foraging plot and then flying off again and not knowing about it. And that can be a bit disheartening given all the work that you've been doing. If we put a camera trap in place, then that extra set of eyes that's going to be there 24/7 and be able to see might pick up some surprises for you in that respect and show you that you do actually have turtle doves. And even then, it's potentially still going to show you that you've got grey partridge coming in to use the seed, or linnet, or yellowhammer, or various different things coming down. Yeah, it's really good. And then obviously documentation to provide footage and photographs for archives. As an example, this is a site where we started feeding at in 2021, which we coupled with a camera trap. The first year we saw a maximum of 2 turtle doves at once on camera. And then subsequently we got this amazing picture in July of 5 birds. That's turtle doves. Obviously there's more than 5 birds there. In the picture, including a juvenile in the center of the picture, which is especially good news. That's like gold, because that shows that there's breeding in the area. So this, where's my laser pointer? This guy here, that's the juvenile turtle dove. And I am going to whiz back to my title slide just for a second, and you can see the difference in how strong the color markings are on the adult compared to the juvenile. Right, I am just about finished talking, so I'm going to leave you with one final slide, which kind of really encapsulates everything that I'm talking about with the community aspect and volunteering, and what that can achieve, because there are only so many of us on the books, as it were. We couldn't do it without the volunteers and everything. So this is a little, I think it's about 7 minutes, so we've got time for it, and then some questions afterwards. Little video on some camera trapping. you go, brief interlude. I think it's hopefully you agree, it's a pretty inspiring story, which is why I wanted to put it in there. And really, with that, I'd like to thank you for listening. I hope it's provided an insight, an interesting evening's talk for you, and enthused you to investigate your own land and create or add to a vision that you already have for wildlife. If you want to find out more, then we have the website Operation Turtle Dove that has lots of resources and FAQs and things like that on it. It also has contact details for how you can get in touch with the various different advisors and things like that if you want to get involved. But thank you very much for your time.